Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my channel for another Hot Toys Secret Base figure preview video. Before we begin, I want to say a massive thank you to Ryan Kirkwood for going out in person and snapping these gorgeous high-res pictures. Show Ryan some love in the comments below because without him, this series literally wouldn't be possible. If you are looking to pre-order your very own copy of Grand Admiral Thrawn, I have popped the link to Pop Collectibles in the description below. As always, do your own research, make sure you are comfortable before buying. I've also included the discount code Justin's Collection for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. Now, I was hoping they would make Thrawn, but I also kinda sorta thought they weren't going to. Just because we didn't get to see him do a ton of stuff in the Ahsoka series. Now, in a season 2, perhaps we'll see him do a little bit more. Right now, he just stood around and gave orders, which I know is what Thrawn does. He loves his strategy. I would have also liked to have seen him just do something. Fire off that blaster there, maybe even just once, but I'm glad he does come with one if you want to get a little bit more dynamic with your posing. He does come with a full array of hands. There's a lot of blue skin texture here, love to see it. The nails are fully painted in a slightly darker shade of blue, so they do stand out against the skin. And you can see some sculpted vein work and wrinkling. So no complaints with the hands. Except for maybe one. I'm not sure if you can see that on the trigger finger hand, but there are a bunch of seams. I am thinking that this is just for the prototype, and then for the final version they'll do away with that massive seam. At least I hope so. Usually we don't have huge seams, except for that one time with Avengers 1 Loki and then Avengers Endgame Loki, so I guess 2 times in total. Moving on, that is a sick looking blaster. It's a unique mold, and I dig the little pop of color around the back with the copper. This comms unit slash starter pad is neat. You've got this radar looking thing down below, some green and some red. They do stand out against the silver surface. And this being his biggest accessory is also my favorite one. It's his command table. Like I said, Thrawn in the season, he just stood around and gave orders and did his strategy with this table. So I'm glad we get it in 1/6 scale, so we can recreate that in our displays. Which is exactly what I'm going to do, and I'm not ashamed to admit that, until we see him do something else potentially like I said in Season 2. I do like this rasterized, almost print layer effect, because that's how holograms look in Star Wars. They have this jagged, old-school feel about them, and they have captured that perfectly. You can see Thrawn's Star Destroyer and Morgan's hyperspace ring that it docks into. Now, his display base is pretty boring. I would have liked to have seen some kind of base topper like they were doing with the Rogue One line, just to give it a little bit more spice. But it's fine, it matches with the rest of the Star Wars bases already in our collections. Something else that matches with the rest of the figures in our collections? Pleather boots. I do not know why Hot Toys are obsessed with doing pleather boots for Star Wars figures. You see that seam right there where the two panels are stitched together for the upper boot and then like the shoe area? That is a perfect spot to hide a split-cut boot design. You wouldn't even be able to tell. It already looks like a freaking split-cut boot for crying out loud. If only they'd made it out of sculpted plastic. That means there's no buckling. You can see it already buckling at the ankles. It looks terrible. And there'd be no risk of damage or creasing or flaking over time. Right now, Han Solo figures, they are having a terrible time with flaking. People are having this issue constantly. But Hot Toys keep using pleather for some unknown reason. His pants, though, are full fabric. They're nice and loose and baggy, exactly as they should be for Empire-style pants. They flare out at the sides, and they are full fabric, like I said, so no worries about creasing, no worries about damage. And they do have a decent level of texture on the surface, this weave that's subtle enough that it doesn't stick out, but it also adds some visual interest to the surface. It's not just flat white fabric, if you know what I mean. You also have multiple panels at play, and he has this very classic looking Imperial big bright silver belt buckle. Unfortunately though, I think the belt is made of pleather. It's too early to tell because Hot Toys are very, very good at making rubbery plastic look like pleather, and to me, Something about the sheen here does scream rubbery plastic, so I'm hoping the belt isn't pleather. It looks great, it's got the little loops, it's got the faux silver bits and pieces around the front, and it's got a subtle sheen to it, like I said, that gives off a rubbery vibe, but also convincingly makes it look like it's made of fabric, like a pleather or a leather, so I'm perfectly fine with the way the belt looks. He does have some little command keys up on top, and his rank badge. The rank badge is massive, Grand Admiral, of course, you'd expect it to be, and I love the colours here. We've got some blue, we've got some orange, and some red. And you will be able to remove those pins, the command cylinders, from the little pockets they sit in. So if you don't want to have him operating some Imperial equipment, you'll totally be able to remove them. Now you are seeing some little scuffing, some surface detail on the outfit. That is meant to be there, especially on his right side, where his little command keys are, the pins. There's some very subtle wear and tear. I mean, it makes sense. He was marooned on this planet for who knows how long, and his outfit probably would be showing some signs of wear and tear, so that's what happened in the show. It was a little bit dirty and grimy with battle damage on the surface. He's still been cleaning it. It's just that he's been out of the elements, right? And he's been getting rained on, probably, and stuff is getting scuffed up. I highly, highly doubt he was on the Star Destroyer all the time. Surely Thrawn wants to take a couple of field trips every now and then. I do like that his wrist pegs have some skin texture on them. Correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the first time we've ever seen them do that? I think it is, and I certainly hope they continue doing that in the future. This head sculpt is Lars Mikkelsen. I can see the likeness from every angle. I even like that they've captured his subtle double chin. It's not super flattering, but I'm glad they didn't go way too flattering. They went for as much detail as possible, and it is there. He also has this V cut to his forehead. It's something that I noticed in the show, and they captured that in 1/6 scale, this little indentation on the forehead, but it's present. There's wrinkling for the frown lines, you've got the bags under his eyes, you've got some subtle crow's feet, and those piercing red eyes, which are posable, by the way. And for a character that just does the stand there and look at you with a bit of a side eye thing, you really do need moving eyes. So I am so happy that Hot Toys decided to give this guy moving eyes, and same thing for pretty much all of the figures announced recently. The hairline is super clean, and even though the skin is mostly blue, there is a lot of variation to it. You got some lighter tones, you got some darker tones, particularly with the lips. They're a little bit darker, so they do stand out against the rest of the skin. They've even added some shading on his chin and in the little dimple areas around the front of his mouth. So what I'm trying to say is, this head sculpt is absolutely beautiful. I'm so happy with the sculpt. Just between you and I, let's be honest, they needed to nail the head sculpt because it's just a white Imperial outfit and a regular true type body. There's nothing really special about the body, nor the accessories, nor the outfit, so they needed to kill it with the head sculpt, and they did. They did not hold back. They got the A-team firing on all cylinders with this sculpt. I am curious to hear what y'all think though. Do let me know in the comments below. Do you like this head sculpt? Or do you think it leaves a little bit to be desired? Like I said, just let me know. Overall, super happy with Thrawn, and I cannot wait to see what he does in Season 2 of Ahsoka, or wherever the heck else he appears in the future. This is one of those figures that you get now from a pretty okay performance from a beloved character from a different series, which was Rebels, of course. I love Rebels. Thrawn was badass in that. And then you just sit back and wait. It's a figure that will get better with time, which doesn't happen very often. Most of the time, they start off badass as heck in Mandalorian Season 2. I'm, of course, talking about Boba Fett. Then it's downhill from there with Book of Boba Fett. Please don't hate me. I know people like Book of Boba Fett, but I'm just trying to make the point. He started off badass, and then he ended up maybe not so much, at least for me personally. If you like it, totally fine. Whereas with Thrawn, he started off okay, and from here, the only real way that he can go is up in terms of character development and badassery. Not sure if that's a word, but I definitely hope it is. If it isn't, it should be. Yep, totally getting this guy. Cannot wait to add a pop of white and blue into the Star Wars display. Now, I pre-ordered mine with Pop Collectibles, As always, do your own research, make sure you are comfortable before buying. I have popped the link to their site in the description below, along with the discount code Justin's Collection, for 5% off your order if you do decide to buy from them. While you're down there, why not hit that subscribe, bell notification icon, and join button, if you like the sound of seeing your name in the end credits of my reviews. Like, comment, and subscribe will catch you in the next video.